All right, so let's come to kneeling. We're going to work on some spinal mobility, rotation, all kinds of things today. So if you come to your hands and knees, hands on the platform, we've got our half spring on, the platform's over the spring, the foot bar's down, universal settings, all that good stuff. So lengthen through your spine and just round through your lower back. Let your weight shift back a little so the knees come in and you stretch through the lower back slightly. And then lengthen out to one long line, bringing the knees back under the hips, and do that a couple times. You can take the knees beyond the directly underneath the hips if that helps you to elongate through the spine. Rounding under, just mostly going for the part where the knees come under you and you get to stretch the lower spine open. If you just sit back, you won't really feel anything. It's got to have the feeling of like you're getting pulled up through the lower back and the knees are coming under. And lengthen and rounding and lengthen twice more, rounding your back and lengthen back out. And one more time. On this next one, come all the way into as much of a neutral spine kneeling plank as you can. And then just push the shape out a little bit and pull the shape back in underneath you and push out through your arms. The further out you go, the more you'll feel the abdominals. Try not to have the hips slightly up. Try to pull in and get those hips down. Ginge and Carrie, see if you can get your hips to open up, because you're pretty flexed right now, and I think that probably is pretty easy for both of you. Yeah, there we go. And then pull up on your low abs. It's hard because you're fighting hip flexors if they're tight at all. One more time, pushing out and pulling back in, round the spine and bring the knees back underneath you. Take both hands over to one side of the platform, push the knees back out, and round your back in. It should feel like you get more oblique going on. So same thing we did before, open the hips, that's right, and pull them back in. Then if you can point your knees a little towards that same diagonal, you'll get a little more rotation. You can adjust your feet however you need to feel like you can point the knees towards the same direction your hands are on. Should feel like your abdominals are working to bring the carriage back in, and you press out and round in, and then you can switch your hands over to the other side, point your knees to the other side, and round your back. Use the abdominals to pull the carriage forward, and round to pull the carriage in. You could totally do this just from your leg strength, because it's not very heavy, but I want you to think of moving the carriage from the connection of the center. Yeah, twice more, pulling in and lengthening out and pulling in and lengthening out, and center back off, put one foot against each shoulder rest again, and just lengthen through your spine. Push the carriage out into that hip open position, pulling up through the low abs. And just try a small bend of the elbows and a straighten. So it's like a mini push up, down and press up. Good, down and up. 3 more, down and up, and 2. Doesn't have to be very big, even just staying here is hard. And coming all the way back in. Awesome. So from here, we're gonna turn around to face the other direction. Put your knees against the shoulder rests. Put both hands on one side. And similar feeling, but a lot more work because the springs are coming from a different direction. So your side bent, you're pulling the carriage forward from the hips. Flex at the hips to pull the carriage forward. Upper body's kind of staying in the same spot the whole time. Yeah, that's it. And we're all on the half spring. If this feels too light, too heavy, you always can add to it. Should feel like a lot of abdominal. So you're in a little bit of a side bend towards the side the hands are on. And so right now you're moving from your hips, moving into deeper flexion and extension of the hips. One more time. And then I want you to not move from the hips and move from your arms. So you try to bring your shoulder to your hip more and side bend further. So if you were to look at this from above, you'd see the torso curves more, and that's what's bringing the carriage forward. And torso curves, and 4 more. Side bend, and side bend, and side bend. 1 more time. And then come back to the center. Take your hands over to the other side, starting with the hip joints. So the shoulders do a space hold. You're trying to flex the hips more so the knees come further underneath you to pull the carriage forward. You are in a little bit of a side bend, but your torso is not changing. Pull it forward, good. Carrie, see if you can keep your shoulders and head from moving forward as your knees come under you. Yeah, so these 2 different versions don't start to mush together into one. It'll just be harder the way I'm having you do it. It's 2 separate exercises. Last 2, and last 1. And then using your arms, the arms and the upper body side bend to pull. If it's too heavy, move your hands back towards you. If it's too light, move your hands forward on the rail. And you side bend, return, and side bend, return. 4 more. Side bend and return. 3. Good. Try to keep your hips in the middle so the hips don't shift off center in order to move the upper body. The hips are staying where they are. All right, and then come back to the center. Just sit back towards your heels, round through your spine for a second. And then come to facing the other direction. Face the side, actually, face towards the camera. And put your forearm down on that platform. Move your knees as close to the shoulder rest as you can. This is pretty light and it's easy to move. If it's too much work for this shoulder to hold the carriage still, then you need to add more springs. Like I think I'm gonna add a 1/4 spring to mine just for myself, but you guys decide. Anywhere between a 1/2 and 1 spring would be good. So you wanna be able to keep the carriage still once you get your hips up and your shoulder over your elbow and reach the top leg out, flex the foot and circle. Of course, you could set the hips down if it's too much, but I shouldn't really see the carriage moving around a lot once you're up there. Yeah, awesome. Reverse your circles. And then set your hip back down. Bring your hand all the way up, the other hand against the edge of the carriage. Push the platform away. If you're slipping like I am, you can push against the wood or wrap your fingers around the edge. Push out and side bend up. And push out. And think of your head going up and over your legs. We've done this a few different ways before. Pushing out, kind of flatten and lift up and over. 1 more time. Very beautiful. And lifting up and over. Put your forearm back down. Lift your hips back up. Reach your top leg out. 2 kicks forward. Sweep back and forward. And 4 more. 4, 3. Of course, you can set your hips down if you need to. And 1 last time. Good. And bring your leg back in. And let's just flip over to the other side right away. So shins up against the shoulder rest as much as they can be. Put your forearm down. Find the position where you can be stable. Hover the hips up or stay down, your choice. Reach the top leg out, circling through the leg. As you're circling the leg, trying to feel like you're keeping the leg higher than the shoulder rest. You're connected through the arm and you're not letting the whole body move around. It's harder if you're a little bit away from the stopper. Reverse, it's easier if you're bumped up right against the stopper. You decide that. Circle and circle and circle. And then you can bend that top leg in, come up onto your hand so your arm is straight. Push against the platform to move the carriage out, lengthening through the side of the torso. And then as you come up, like you're trying to bring your ear towards your shins, and push out and lifting up and over. And press out, lengthen through the torso, and lift up and over. And twice more. Listening towards your feet. And last one. Lifting up and over. Good. Put your forearm back down, either hips up or hips stay down. Reach your top leg out, 2 kicks forward. Sweep your leg back and forward. Sweep back, forward. 3 more times. 3 and 2. And last one. And return. Bring your leg back in. Let's sit up facing the back of the reformer. Take your legs, you can stretch them through the shoulder rest. We're still on our half spring. If you need to adjust, feel free. Grab with the opposite hand, a little bit of space behind you on the carriage. You can also, if it's too easy, you can take your hand through like a ski pole grip and grab a hold for higher up. So just start by rotating your torso. It's not meant to be really heavy. You're just rotating and looking towards the elbow. Your strap is coming from the opposite side. So you've got the left strap in the right hand or vice versa. Yeah. So whichever side the strap is coming from, you're rotating in the opposite direction. Good. Rotate and rotate, just trying to connect into the back of the shoulder blade. If it feels really easy, you can always add your quarter spring back on there. Make it a teeny bit heavier for yourself. 3/4 spring feels pretty manageable still. Trying to rotate through the torso, connecting into that mid back, rhomboids, mid traps, all that good stuff. Twice more. And last one. Grab the same strap with the other hand and put your elbow up. So it's on the same side now, and open elbow just one arm at a time. So you're still vertical, your arm opens out to the side. If that feels pretty easy, you can take it into airplane, which your arm would be straight. It's both our horizontal abduction. So either one, depends on if you added that quarter spring or not, how heavy this feels. Yeah, good. Try to get your neck to come up and lengthen through the back of the head. Yeah, like somebody's pulling on the back of the hair of the neck and like lifting you up from there. As your arm goes to the side, if you push it further than you have flexibility and strength, your head will probably go forward. So try to not let that happen. 2 more. And last one. And then take your arm down into the loop of the strap, plow with one arm. Again, feels easy if you just use momentum, but I want you to try to connect to the back of the arm. Palm is either facing in or forward. Lengthen through the back of the spine, lift the head and the neck again. Yeah, good, Carrie. Very regal. And connecting to the back of the shoulder. Should be adding up. So if it doesn't feel like you're getting tired, then next time you need to add more spring tension. Last one. And then put that strap back, grab the other strap, ski pole kind of grip if you like, and rotating away from the side the strap is coming from. Staying up on your axis, nice and vertical. Rotate, try to focus on the rotation through the torso. If you picture your rib cage kind of rotating around the spine. Nice. And last two. And last one. And take the strap onto the other hand. So it's now coming from the same side, and either single arm elbow opening like this, or airplane. If you did airplane on the other side, you'd want to do it here as well. Lengthen through your neck. Ginge, I think just in general, take your eyes up and maybe look higher than exactly horizontal. Oh yeah, I like that better. And then feel like you're pulling the back of the neck up, kind of flattening the curvature of the neck a little bit. One more time. And then take your arm down in the loop and plow, opening across the front of the collarbone. So feel really wide across the front of the collarbone, and then press the arm back. Should feel like the back of the upper arm and shoulder blade is working quite a bit. And again, the only ways that I know to build strength is more repetitions or more weight. So if this has gotten easy for you, that's awesome. It just means you've been consistent with your training, and you need to keep increasing it. You shouldn't be on like a half spring for the rest of your life, is what I mean. Maybe a little more than a half spring. Or maybe you could do more reps on the half spring than you could a year ago. Maybe it'd be something like that. All right, let's put that strap back. And then definitely let's all switch to the half spring if you aren't on the half spring. Lighter than that will be a problem one way, and heavier than that will be a problem in another way. You don't need the platform on there right now, so if it's in your way, feel free to take it off. Come to kneeling. You could tip yourself over here, so you have to be mindful. Scooch a little bit towards the end of the carriage, towards the springs. The strap that's on the shoulder rest closest to you, you're gonna grab it with the outside arm, with the foot bar arm. And you're gonna, and you're gonna stay really stable. You're gonna start to pull your elbow out to the side. The rope, I know it's hard to tell with black on black, but my rope, I'm reaching underneath my arm. Yeah, that's right, Carrie and Melanie. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then you're gonna press your arm out to the side, bend your arm, let your torso rotate towards the back of the reformer. If you run out of room, you can always shorten the strap or just move towards the foot bar if there's more space on the carriage to do so. So you're rotating and looking towards the hand in each direction. You're not going to get a whole lot of rotation when the arm straightens out to the side, but you should be able to get quite a bit as you go towards the back of the reformer. Yeah, good. Press and rotate and press towards straight arm. Rotate and press. Rotate, two more. And last one. And then put that strap back on the shoulder rest. Stand up on your knee. Bring the foot onto the headrest, and then move your foot forward until you have contact with the shoulder rest. So you can push your ankle or any part of your foot into the shoulder rest to help you balance. If you can't get into this position, then you need to do normal kneeling like this. What won't work is if your standing knee is directly underneath you or towards the midline. You've got to be in a wide base of support, or else you will likely fall over. We don't want anybody falling over. So then you're going to grab the strap. You're going to move carefully, mindfully. Put your hand that's closer to the back of the reformer on your knee and try that same motion. So your arm goes out and then it comes slightly towards the knee. Yeah, good. And just keep paying attention to your balance because it kind of sneaks up on you that you aren't connected enough and you'll feel like you're going to lose your support. Good. It seems easy enough, but I've seen some weird things happen. Good. Twice more. And one last time. And then return. Put that, put your hand on the shoulder rest, put both knees down. You can keep the strap and hold onto it with both hands and rotate your torso towards the foot bar and return. So side twist, trying to lift up taller through the torso the whole time, connecting into that kind of spiraling of the body. Lifting up and around. And last one. And then return. Okay, so now this is weird to get into, but you're gonna put this strap down. Remember, you only have a half spring. So if at some point you get stuck, just put your foot on the floor. I'm actually gonna turn around so it's more obvious what's happening through my legs. Sorry, Hazel, you gotta move. So if you sit on the carriage and put your foot that's closer to the carriage, your ankle in the strap, and then you're gonna come to kneeling with your ankle in the strap, the one that's closer to the back of the reformer. So the safest way to do that is to not twist your knee. And again, you can put your foot on the floor at any point. Okay, so then wide base of support, lift your leg up, let the carriage come all the way in. So if you need to adjust by moving one way or the other so it doesn't feel like it's impossible to get the carriage in, then do. And then press your leg towards the midline, not trying to cross the body, you're just trying to go towards the midline. If you don't have a lot of room, your leg can be low and you'll just feel how you bump into the standing leg. If you can and you have space, let your leg come all the way up towards horizontal. You should feel like your inner thigh is working. Melanie, see if you can bring the carriage all the way in a second. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah, now lift your foot up higher unless there's something right behind you. And then press just towards the midline. Don't let the pelvis and hips turn or turn this way, that you stay really centered. Yeah. Should feel like a lot of abs and obliques as well. I was playing around with this earlier, and to get the strap on the other foot, I think the easiest way is to bend your knee, stick your foot in the strap. So now I have both ankles in the strap almost, and use one foot to get the strap on the other foot. Sitting down, twisting, taking the rope off, all kinds of weird things are possible. It just seemed easier to me that way. And then you reach your leg out. Now you've got your outer hip that's having to work to press out towards the foot bar. Lots of obliques. Press the leg away. Straighten your knee. Straighten your knee, Ginge. There we go. Yeah, keeping centered between the upper and the lower body. So you're not letting just the leg move, you're connecting into the torso and into the whole upper body. You can feel how if your leg is low, it's just a different type of hip work. I feel it more in the outer hip. If my leg is up higher, I feel a lot more in my obliques. So lots of options. Let's try to smooth the movement of the carriage out for these last two and last one. And then the easiest way to get out of this without twisting your knee is put your foot down on the floor, the one with the strap on it. Put it on the floor. Put your foot down on the floor. Yeah. And then sit down and turn towards it. And then once you're facing that strap, you can take it off more easily. Awesome. Okay, so let's do all this fun stuff on the other side. So we're going to start with kneeling on your hands and knees. And you're going to grab the strap underneath your standing arm, and we're going into rotation. I'm going to face you. Yeah. So rotating through the arm and bringing it back across. And rotate. And try to rotate towards the back of the reformer. Press your arm out. Try to get your knees back a little bit further. I think, Carrie, you're good, but Ginge, definitely. Melanie, that looks better, yeah. You should be in a quadruped position, so your knees aren't way underneath you. They're not like under your belly button, they're more under the pelvis. Bend your elbow as it comes underneath you. Straighten it as it presses out towards the foot bar. Bend your elbow as it comes underneath. Straighten to press out. Good. Lengthen your spine to neutral. Last two. And last one. You can put that strap down for a second on the shoulder rest. Come up to that kneeling position. You have to have your foot on the headrest, but forward towards the shoulder rest so you can push against it. Your knee needs to be not directly underneath you, so you have a wider base of support. And then once you're there, pressing your elbow out to the side and return. You're holding on. This one seems so innocent, but I kid you not, there's a lot of balance here that has to happen, so be really mindful of how you're moving. Yeah, and Ginge, move your right leg a lot to the right. Yeah. Hold on to your knee, and then it's the outside hand. Use your obliques, use your abs, everything you've got to keep yourself upright. Good. 3 more here. And last one. And then you can hold on to the shoulder rest to bring both knees down. Stand up on both knees and rotate the torso. So spine twist. Rotating towards the foot bar, towards the pulleys, lifting up and around, wringing out a towel feeling happening through the torso. Good. Three more here, lifting up and around and lifting up and around. And rest. Cool. From there, we're going to the inner thigh part. So you grab the strap, sit down and face towards the shoulder rest. And then grab the strap, put it on the foot that's closer to the pulleys. So it's on that foot. And then you can use your foot on the floor to come up into this kneeling position. Leg will be out straight behind you, and you're pressing towards the midline. Yeah. Melanie, put it on your right foot. Yeah, there you go. You got it. And Ginge, it'll be on your right foot as well. I can't really see where your feet are, but it'll be the right foot. Cool. So then pressing your leg towards the midline and opening it back out. trying to keep that feeling of your pelvis staying as level as possible. Nice. Couple more here, using your obliques to keep you still. And last one. And then bend your knee, put your knee on the carriage and sneak one foot into the loop. Use your feet to get the strap on the other foot. Trust me, it's easier. I tried like 1,000 different ways. And reach your leg out behind you. Start with your leg straight back behind you and then press out from there. It's okay on this one if the carriage doesn't come all the way into the stopper. Come in as far as you can manage, staying as neutral as possible. Couple more here. Centered between the upper and the lower body. One more. And then set your foot down on the floor and then set your bum down. And then you can kind of turn towards it to take your foot out of the strap. Cool. So then facing towards the foot bar, sitting cross-legged, probably one red spring will work for everybody. So about twice as heavy as you had it. Reach the hands into the straps, sitting nice and tall, vertical, sweep the arms forward and back a few times, wide across the collarbone, super simple, but trying to connect to the back of the shoulders even as the arms are going forward. Good. On your next one, you're gonna let your arms come up above shoulder height and go into your tricep presses. The arms can either be parallel or it can be kind of like those moose antlers where your thumb comes closer to your head and your elbows are wider apart, whichever helps you to feel it more. You also can lean forward on an incline, especially if you have tight shoulders, that might help you. Or you can use a little bit more core and try to sit upright. It's definitely harder on the abdominals as you sit more upright. And hopefully this feels like it's heavy enough to feel some work, even if it's not the heaviest you could possibly move. It's on the tiring end of the spectrum. And 3 more. And last one. And then sweep your arms back forward and down. Put the straps in one hand so you can switch to the half spring. And then grab the straps again in the correct hand. Reach your arms forward. Your palms can face up if you tend to roll the shoulders forward or lift them, or you can be in kind of a round position like you're hugging a tree trunk. Either way, I want you to open both arms out to the side and then press just one arm forward, open both out to the side. Try to connect to your obliques. So as one arm comes forward, you're staying connected to the back of the shoulder. You're not letting anything twist or rotate. You have to start with the arms out to the side and then just one arm is coming in front of you. Arms to the side, one arm comes in front of you. Out to the side, one arm comes in front of you. Yeah, if you try to do it the other way, you'll get stuck. One more time, finish up even on both sides, and then reach your arms back down. Sweep your arms forward again, like you're gonna do triceps again, because you are, but you're gonna do one arm at a time and bend it. If this is too light, this is half the spring tension you had before. Like I feel like I could do it a little bit heavier, then you can come out of it and add your quarter spring. bend your arms. Just make sure you get in and out of this in a way that supports your shoulder stability. Good. It should feel like you have to really connect into the center in order to not twist or tip or rotate. Two more. And last one. And then both arms, straighten them, sweep the arms forward and down to come out of that. Awesome. Scooch forward, put like, let's put 2 red springs on, will be good. And then bring your foot bar up. If you have really slippery clothes, you can put a sticky underneath what you're sitting on, where you're sitting. But I just want you to put your feet up on the corner of the bar and grab the bar in between your feet. You won't be able to sit on a platform or anything here. What I'd like is, instead of your butt being back of your shoulders, that you creep your butt under a little bit. Yeah. So this is kind of the beginning of stomach massage, but we're gonna do it just mostly as a stretch. So you're gonna take a deep inhale. You're gonna exhale and try to send your lower back back. By stretching your lower back, you'll feel the knees straighten a little bit and you kind of tip forward and then come back in. And if you slide instantly, then feel free to grab something sticky to sit on. If it's too hard for you to sit like this, then move the foot bar down. That's always an option. So you're deepening your abdominal connection, pulling in your center, stretching the low back open, and that's what bows your body forward and come back in. It's a very different feeling if you move from the center than if you move from your legs. And come back in. Like Ginge, if you could move forward at all, then I would. And I can't see where your feet are just because of the shadows, but if your feet are really wide, it'll help. Yeah, I think that'll help as well. So you want to feel like your butt is almost in front of your shoulders, even though it really is actually probably under. And then press. Yeah, good, Melanie. And it should feel really nice to open up the lower back like this. Yes, you're getting some shoulder stretch, and you probably are getting a little bit of hamstring stretch. Twice more. You can play around with exactly what part of the foot is on the bar. I think the heels, you have to have a little more flexibility. And last time, deepen your abdominals, stretch the low spine out to push the carriage back and pull the carriage back in. Good. From here, we're gonna lay on our backs and we're gonna go into short spine. So if you know you need to adjust the distance from the foot bar or the carriage stopper, then go for it. But if this works for you, then stay here. So grab the straps off the shoulder rests. Make sure the headrest is down. Bring your feet into the straps. And before we do short spine, turn out and just go into about 4 big leg circles in each direction, turning out so the heels come towards each other in the middle, up the midline of the body. And you use your breath to move, deep creases in the front of the hips. When you've done 4, go in the other direction. 4, 3, and last one. And bring your legs down on the diagonal. And we're gonna go into our short spine. So you're gonna rotate the legs to parallel. As you hinge at the hips, start to curl the spine under and roll up through the spine, pressing the hips open. Carriage comes all the way in, rotate, turn out, pull the heels towards the tail until your knees are kind of pointing over the shoulder rest. You're in this tight ball shape. And then you roll down away from your heels. You'll feel that nice hamstring stretch again. That looks awesome, Carrie. And then pull the heels towards the tail and press back out away from yourself. And then on your own timing, remembering that this is an exercise that we're doing to up our lower backs and to mobilize our spine, but it also is a big abdominal exercise. So you might think about, what would this feel like if I did it without the straps? I don't think most of us could do it without the straps, but you shouldn't feel like you're just hanging into the straps and letting the straps yank you around, that you're connecting into the abdominals to mobilize the spine. Rolling through, pressing open, pulling the heels towards the tail, rolling back down. When you're done with one more, you can finish up and take your feet on the straps. Pulling the heels in. Once you get all the way back down, chill and come out of there. Come off the reformer completely. Awesome. We'll put our foot bar back down. Switch to one red spring and universal settings if you aren't already on there, which I think most of you are. And put your platform back over the springs. Universal settings, one red spring, platform over. Yeah, and then step up onto the platform first. Standing, find your side split position. And just start by pressing out and coming back in. Pushing through the outer hips, trying to not sink down as you press out. On the next one, you're gonna press out and stay there. See if you can hold the carriage for a moment. And then just rotate your upper body to one side, center back off, rotate to the other side, try to keep the carriage from moving one more time. Rotate, center, and rotate. Center, come all the way back in and push out and in again. Should feel hard to hold the carriage during those 4 rotations. Good, one more time, you're gonna press out a hold and rotate your torso, center, and rotate, and center. One more each way, rotate, and rotate, and let the carriage come back in. Bend the knees, let the torso hinge forward, and pumping out through the carriage leg. Push, pull. Trying to resist the carriage coming in so that you're working in both directions. Four, 3, 2, and last one. And come all the way back in. Stand up and just step on the platform to turn around to face the other side. Staggering the feet and press the arms and legs apart, pulling up through the low abdominals. Press out and pull in. As you press out and pull back in, trying to feel like you're lifting through the spine and the torso. On this next one, you're going to find a place you can hold the carriage. Rotate, center, rotate, center. One more each way. And last one. And come back in. Straight arms and legs, push out and in again. Pushing out and pulling in. Awesome. Last time we'll add that rotation. So reach out, rotate, center, hold the carriage, center, and last rotation, and come all the way back in. Bend your knees and pump the carriage leg out, out. Making sure you're not letting your body shift side to side. You're just moving that carriage leg. Last 2 and last 1, and come all the way back in. Step off onto the floor behind you and switch to your half spring. can either stay on that same side or walk around to the other side, whatever helps you to see better. And step on the platform first, and then the carriage. So you're on basically half the spring tension you were on. Just push out and feel how light it is to get your bearings here, and then come back in. So a lot lighter. Okay, so push the arms and legs out. Stay there, try to hold the carriage. You're gonna flex forward and reach towards one foot. Come all the way back up to vertical. Obviously, if you don't feel like your balance is good enough to do this, then don't do this and just go into side splits. Pushing out and pulling back in. Rounding through your back as you come back up. Can be more of a hinge as you go forward and more of a roll through the spine to come back up. Hinging, trying to keep the carriage still as much as that's possible. Hinging, rolling. And one more each way. Hinge and roll up and hinge and roll up and come all the way back in. We're going to add to that in the very near future, but stand on the platform. Be mindful as you turn around. Find that press of the carriage out. Hinge towards one foot and then roll back up and hinge and roll up and hinge and roll. Couple more times. Trying to keep the carriage as still as possible. One more time. And once you're even, bring the carriage all the way back in. Step off the back of the reformer. We have one more little thing to do here today. So standing at the side of the reformer, half spring should work, I think, for most of us. Whichever side you're standing on, grab that strap and hold onto it with the hand that's closer to the reformer. This hand is going to help you to balance. So you're going to push into the strap and let the carriage start with your with the arm in front of you and a little bit of tension in the strap. Yeah. So the outside hand and leg is the one that's going to move. You're going to reach it out behind you. You're going to push into that strap and just teeter forward. And then I'm realizing I need more space, and so I'm going to move backwards. So I'm pushing into the strap. Make sure you're not just going so far that you hunch over, but your head, the back of your head and the back of your foot have to stay in a line with each other. So you hinge and then you touch the floor. And you hinge. Your standing leg can have a little bit of a bend in it. That's totally fine. And you're using that strap to help you balance. Don't go so far over, Ginge. Lengthen your spine and find neutral. And then only go as far as you can stay neutral, right about there. Yeah, that was good though. All this balance stuff today we're working on. It's good for us all. Hinging back. I don't care if it's like pretty and looks like a ballerina or something. I care that you feel your hamstring working on the standing leg. And of course, you're challenging your balance. If there's some other place you want to put your arm that helps you, feel free to use it in a different way. But having it kind of contained against the thigh seems pretty good to me. You're going to tip into that inclined position. Stay there and see if you can hold for a second. Doesn't have to be super far. If you can go further, go, but doesn't have to be. And hold 4, 3, 2, and 1, and stand back up. Good. Pull the carriage towards you and squat and reach back forward. Try not to let your body rotate. Your elbows bending and straightening. And bending, your body's going to want to turn and twist. Try to keep it forward. Pull and stand tall. And squat and stand tall. And squat. Let your arm go all the way back to straight. If you need to back up to make that happen, feel free to do that, or adjust how long you're holding on the rope. Two more. And last one. And then rest. You can put that strap down, walk around to the other side. Grab the strap with the inside arm. You'll kind of approximate where you need to stand, and then you can find that hinge. And I find it a little easier if I step a little further away from the reformer. It's unusual to be this far away from the reformer, but it does help with the balance, and it gives you a little, as I fall over, and it gives you a little bit of space for your arm to have something to push against, like the carriage, the rail, if you should need to. So you're trying to keep the arm kind of going up and down in the same vertical line, which means the carriage will move a little. So your arm isn't coming in and out. You're pushing and keeping the tensioning on the ropes the whole time. The goal, again, is not that you touch the floor. The goal is that you keep your spine in neutral and keep that kind of teetering effect happening, so your head only goes as low as your leg goes high. I can't help but think of when they go low, we go high. That's what your head has to think. Leg goes high, head goes low. It's like a teeter-totter, your plank. Twice more. On the last one, you're gonna hold and find your balance in that hold. If you need to touch one finger to the carriage, you can. Should feel like your hamstrings working. And 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then stand all the way back up. Roll through the arm, squat down, lift up. This should feel like a nice break. Down and up, keeping everything from twisting. Connecting into the back of the shoulders. As the arm goes forward, that's when your body usually wants to twist away from the reformer. Try to keep that from happening. Use your obliques, use the strength of your back of the shoulder. Down, you stand all the way up. You go down, you stand up. Each time, try to stand all the way up to vertical. Try to pull up on the front of the pelvis. One more time. Very good. And then rest, put the strap back on the shoulder rest. Add 1.5 springs and then put the platform back down. If you tend to be tight in the hamstrings, you can do your normal single thigh stretch. If you want to try a little bit of a different version, put your foot on the edge of the platform, kind of toes on the edge, and adjust your foot so it's not going to hit a spring. You're going to push the heel, let the heel drop down as you press out through the front leg. So it's just your toes on there. The other foot has to be against the shoulder rest, and you're pushing against the shoulder rest. The back leg is the one I care about. Yeah, if your foot's not against the shoulder rest, I think the carriage will feel too heavy and out of control. And one more time, push out. Let the heel drop, let the back hip open, and then come all the way back in and switch legs. And once your ball of the foot is on the platform, use your back leg to push out first, and then kind of bow forward through that front leg. And push out, open up the legs, and come back in. When you're done with this last one, you can finish, and you're all done. Good job.